missed out. So there were a couple of programs ran, and one of those program ran was actually to do the data analysis part. So I was in the university at that point, and we wrote a whole bunch of algorithms, and we designed a software system which would take in the data from intelligence agencies, and then it will actually, compare with a hidden Markov model and generate a likelihood that how likely is that this particular type of terrorist activity may happen. So I remember there was a one case study which actually was a boat attack. So we actually hypothesized that case study way back in 2003, and unfortunately that kind of thing happened in India, in that Bombay. So you know the, what I really feel a sad thing about it, whatever science and technology we develop, but ultimately, how much is deployment? That's where it's a big gap. We studied, we made algorithms, we made the tools, we gave it to the agencies, where it lies, how it used, there is a big gap, and that's where you need to have a education, you need to communicate what the tool does, and then you have to proactively engage for a practical application of that. So that was a story from the back in the security days. Then after that was I kind of looked at more in a infrastructure data, or more in a fault management data. There was a work with the Toyota, and then I was working in General Motors. There was looking at the data from millions of vehicles, and making sure that when the faults occur, what are those conditions. Look at those and try to give a insight into what were the operating conditions when it happened. Can we design those error codes better? And that was some of the work we did, and it had an impact on detecting intermittent faults. And move on from there, I got a chance to work in a smartphone industry. So I was working in Samsung, and there the game was totally different. Our use cases were more in a smartphone area. So can we leverage the data to enhance the user experience? So some of the design and some of the new use cases we looked around that area. So okay, well, yeah, you got it. Okay, good. I think, yeah, I mean, without PPT also I can do it, but I'm not an entertainment, so I don't know how much I can engage. So that was about the Samsung work, and then currently I'm working in CA technologies, and here I kind of look at more streaming data, and that's where just a previous talk about doing the real-time analytics, using a Spark and all that. So so-called data scientists, or all those guys, have to actually design the algorithms we can consume that data and give some insight. So whatever algorithms which were written, decision tree, clustering, everything has to be rewritten. The reason for that is there was a fundamental assumption that you have the data available in batch, but now in a streaming fashion it's not going to happen. So that fundamental assumption is changed, so you have to rewrite those algos, and that's where all the community engagement in MLib, that's where all the action is going on. So at CA Technologies we have a whole bunch of use cases. We are looking at